Warning, this is a review for Titanfall, and this is a disclaimer. Any footage you see from Titanfall was recorded directly via Microsoft's Upload Studio function. And this video will not be monetized for any monetary value, saying that Titanfall belongs to Respawn Entertainment, Microsoft Studios, and Electronic Arts. And this is also a fair and unbiased review protected by the fair use law in copyright. File. Hey, this of course is Titanfall, and it's finally time to review it. Now, what you're seeing here is actual gameplay footage from the game. Now, is it good? Yes, it is very, very good. At a high level, in fact. What you're seeing here is a match that I put together of me playing some arbitration. That's one of the modes in the game. But here's the big thing. It doesn't have a single player campaign. Instead, it's multiplayer only, as chosen by Respawn Entertainment. Respawn is the company that was made and founded part of the EA Partners Program out of the remains of the fired Infinity Ward team from Modern Warfare 2. What results is maybe the most not so original, but one of the most balanced and polished shooters of the last 10 years. And I'm willing to stand by that statement absolutely completely. What ends up happening here is, instead of a traditional campaign, we have a multiplayer one. Here's what I've figured out about the story thus far. It's practically a story about two sides. One, called the IMC, is in control of the new interstellar frontier after the Earth's fossil fuel supply runs dangerously low. The IMC is run by a group known as Hammond Robotics, who specialize in military defense organisms and, of course, robotic weaponry. Their signature is the mighty Titans, mostly the Atlases. These Titans are 30-foot tall giant mechs of destruction, and now both the IMC and a militia formed of the people that hate the IMC now use in military combat. The militia wish to get rid of the IMC and bring freedom to the frontier, but they might not be the only enemy they have to face in the IMC. Perhaps the robots are the true enemy here. Now, of course, when it comes down to it, the campaign is only 6 missions long, but you have to play both the missions at both the campaigns to unlock the remaining 2 Titans in the game. The Strider, who's faster, lighter, and can Titan dash 3 times, and the Ogre, which is the walking tank of strength that can take the most health and deal the most melee damage. If you don't complete the campaigns, you're locked to just the Atlas. But here's the problem with the multiplayer campaign. No matter if you win or lose in the multiplayer campaign, its impact doesn't matter. The story still stays on a linear path. This is one of the downsides to the multiplayer campaign. And plus, to get credit for the Titans, you must complete all 6 levels in order, which are divided on individual servers that you must hit up, which finding the map and mode for what you're looking for can sometimes be a needle in the haystack. I, for one, didn't have any personal problems getting through the campaigns, but my friends did, and that can be somewhat troubling. Also of note, is the fact that there are only also 6 modes in the game. Capture the flag and hardpoint domination, a mix of Call of Duty standards hardpoint and domination mixed together. This to me is the signature mode of the game in terms of gathering points, as well as Last Titan Standing, a Titan-themed search and destroy, if you will. Other than that, you have 2 standard team deathmatch modes. Arbitration, which you saw me playing there, which is a standard team deathmatch, except there are specters and grunts, robotic soldiers, and minor level humans scattered all throughout the map that act on both teams. You can kill them for easy points and to reduce your Titanfall time. Meanwhile, in Pilot Hunter, only the kills against human players count. None of the grunts and specters do, although they're still on the field. This is to provide gameplay balance and to fill out the large maps, which, speaking of maps, that's Titanfall's biggest advantage, its verticality. See, this is the verticality that Call of Duty wishes it had. See, you have a jetpack and some boots. With it, you can parkour and wall run over any wall that you see in your way without it getting in your way. Even doing the idea of jumping on the back of a friendly Titan can even get you up into higher plateaus that even your double jump rocket boots can't reach. Also, on top of that, roading enemy Titans and taking them down, or as the game terms it, dooming them, can also score you extra points, but beware of the nuclear ejection for payback. It pretty much turns your Titan that has been destroyed into a nuclear bomb. Also, the multiplayer takes a lot of its cues from Call of Duty, from its level up and challenge system to the way that the game overall plays with its guns. But because of the lack of guns and alternate options, everything seems balanced out and polished. See, sometimes, my dear Razor Fist, less is indeed more, and it helps in the case of Titanfall. The gameplay is tight, the controls are responsive, especially if you got the recent controller update, and all the maps fit every mode in the game. There's practically no mode in this game that is considered unplayable here. Capture the Flag was recently added back to the PC version after fan response of them taking it out. But we also got a variety pack, a hodgepodge of the different modes to add on to the game's first DLC. Although with the lack of single player and the multiplayer campaign just consisting of audio logs that pretty much you have to do the decoding yourself to see how the timeline syncs up, it still creates an interesting world that's worth exploring any further. Now, granted, this does not mean that Titanfall 2 necessarily needs a single player. This just means that the multiplayer options need two different sided directions, one for if you win and one for if your team loses. Giving two or three multiple ending tracks to the story matches can make the story matches more important. Also, what switches things up from the normal first-person shooter mundane is the burn cards. These one-time modify cards allow you to modify the match in your individual favor, giving you special perks, but those perks only last for the time in which you call it into battle. So knowing when to use them and what to use can also influence your progress in the game, but also turn the tide in battle if you know how to use it well. Also, there's a sense of playing two separate games based on its scope. When you're a pilot, you feel small, insignificant, very nimble and fast, but up against the 30-foot tall titans, you're nothing but a roach and can be easily squashed or thrown into walls. But the minute you do achieve Titanfall and unleash the game's signature beast every 3 minutes, by the way, unless you rodeo enemy titans and destroy them, that time can be shortened. But when you're in a titan, you feel big, powerful, massive. The viewpoint of the game changes from a lower view to a higher view, giving you the feeling that you are truly towering over the map. You're slow but powerful and just nimble enough using the dash to create some major havoc. And if you're good in a Titan, you can completely change matches through having your Titan present on the battlefield. And even if you don't want to pilot it yourself, the auto Titan feature can also get you kills, crush the minor grunts, and even take down Titans on their own without you getting your hands dirty. Just in case you're more used to playing infantry style games like Call of Duty, or you're just too scared to be riding in a giant mech, the Auto Titan option is a fine option, and even in the objective-based game modes, can be really effective in guarding objectives, keeping track of things, and even using your Titan kamikaze style to take out the enemy. Also, what Titanfall exceeds in is the server quality. Yes, sometimes the servers will act wonky and cut you in and out. But when you're in a game, there's little to no lag. The gameplay servers here are absolutely flawless. If you can connect to a match, you can play a match, and that's the key for anything multiplayer centric. As well as you can group together you and 5 of your buds in an easy squad setup. As well as this, matches actually end in Titanfall in an epilogue. During the epilogue, the losing team must escape on an escape ship, while the winning team must either take the ship down or just kill everyone. This changes the way that matches end from traditional first-person shooters. Just because you claim victory doesn't mean you get to put the controller down. If you're on the winning team, you get to add salt to the enemy's wounds by killing them all. If you're the losing team, it's a chance to save face, escape, earn a burn card or two, and get them next time. Also, what changes things up from the traditional formula is, of course, the challenge system, but more specifically, the regeneration system. When you reach the maximum level cap of 50, you are given the option to regenerate. Regeneration acts, of course, like prestige, resetting your challenges and putting you back at level 1. But once you've reached the first regeneration, you are then given regeneration objectives based on the challenges that are actually in the game. Completing these challenges before you reach maximum level can make it easier to reach your next regeneration, but beware, every time you regenerate, the objectives will get harder and more varied to achieve, making the journey to 10th regeneration, the maximum pilot limit, actually something very difficult to do. But if you can accomplish it with your mastermind skills, you'll feel like you've actually earned it this time. On top of that, the weapons are balanced for people and anti-personnel. From 2 submachine guns, 1 shotgun, 2 types of sniper rifles, 1 marksman rifle, and this, the Smart Pistol MK5. Maybe the most noob, quote-unquote, friendly weapon ever created. This weapon automatically locks on to enemy targets. However, to take down enemy pilots, you need 3 of these lock-ons. But with specters and grunts, it only takes 1. With a lock, you can instantly take down opponents with ease. This is a great weapon if you're just starting out, to make you feel comfortable and powerful, like I did. Never before in the history of a shooter that I've played have I felt integral to the result of a game. Powerful. A threat. Thanks to the way that the weapons are balanced, the speed is brought out, and the way that damage is dealt, you can really be a threat in the world of Titanfall, even if all you're doing is grunt hunting. It makes every player, from the highest skill level pilot killers to the lowest level I just played for fun, feel included, feel wanted, and have them feel the taste of actually feeling victorious. It's something that a shooter hasn't been able to duplicate since Call of Duty 4. And the reason why that is possible is because there's no single player in it. It's polished. It knows what it is and doesn't compromise. And hopefully it doesn't. Whether you give a darn about the greater world of the campaign is up to you. But if you're serious about finding finally that balanced shooter that can get you away from Call of Duty, Titanfall is most certainly the game to do it. This is definitely one of, if not the reasons, to go pick up an Xbox One. But don't fret, there's a 360 version of it too, if you're not ready to make the graphical jump. And yes, I do have to bring up the fact that the game runs at 792p resolution and at 30 frames a second. But, once again, this prevents lag and keeps the game at a speedy, well-executed clip without much frame rate problems or clipping into the background. Sure, it may not look as crisp as you might want it, but it's polished for what it is, and its execution of its core functions absolutely succeeds. If it were not for the single player campaign being just a totally out of there, and the multiplayer campaign not living up to its promise, then this game would be absolutely perfect. But for what we got, this almost gives me complete confidence that Titanfall can become the new shooter of the generation if they do it right, without compromising the core design polish and the core design gameplay that makes Titanfall a fast, furious, ultimately incredibly enjoyable experience. I have never felt this good about playing a shooter in a very, very long time. And it is with that I'm willing to give Titanfall for the Xbox One a 9 out of 10. And my recommendation, if you own it, to buy it. Heck, 1 out of every 4 Xbox One owners already do. And there's a good reason for it. Its tight, balanced control and gameplay, and its ease of access, and its ease of making even the smallest of players feel important gives the game that special inclusive depth that aren't in most shooters. And albeit its multiplayer campaign is nothing at all, it still brings about things that might bring about an interesting story later. Its lack of modes over time will be made up by Respawn. But right now, the modes and maps play smoothly, balancedly, and are a pleasure to behold. This game may not take a lot of strategy, but for those willing to dig, there's a lot here. Your time and your $60 will not be wasted if you like it fast and fun. If you like it deep, though, there are other shooters for you, but it is in this reviewer's opinion that it would be a shame. Video games are about fun, not about what's in them. Give Titanfall a run. 'Cause quite frankly, this was the best Gamefly rental I've ever gotten in the last 3 months. And that's saying the world. Well done, Respawn, and welcome back into the fight. This has been a Kadic review. I'm Leo Line 59. Stand by for more reviews. And stand by for Titanfall.